All right, let me start by saying, guys, that I apologize about like the last 2 weeks or so. I haven't been able to post. Been really busy with work. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I had a lot of personal stuff going on and a lot of work, so just been busy. But anyway, what I want to talk about today, and I'm gonna keep it kind of quick because I am at work, but these kids they found in Ohio, 35 I think it was, 35 missing kids in Ohio, and not really anything about it. I think they found them yesterday. I don't know. I saw it when I woke up this morning. So the point of it is, guys, the point I'm gonna make here is, how come you haven't heard anything about that? How come you don't know anything about that? And if you do, just like me, you hear very minimal about it. It just happened to be, I didn't hear anything about it other than the fact that it was just on one of my feeds. They just popped up that, we found these kids. So something else you probably didn't hear about. How come you didn't hear about the 30-something they found in Georgia? Like last month, I think. There's a problem when people like George Floyd, Jacob Blake are all over the news. The only thing you see on the news for months almost. And then you got 70-something missing kids in 2 months come up found, and not a word about it. But very minimal anyway. When you live in a place that would much rather put the criminal, the child rapist, the drug addict, the armed robber, any of that, the criminal. When we live in a place that's the people that they look up to and that they think should be put on a pedestal and they think should be held up, multiple televised funerals, gold caskets, presented with a folded military flag. And these little kids that have been without their parents and brothers and sisters for however long now, you don't hardly hear nothing about them. There's a huge problem. The reason you don't hear anything about them, guys, is because the people that run these rings, they also control the media. They don't want you to hear them. They don't want you to hear about it. They want you to think that it doesn't really exist like people say it does. So it'll get out there a little bit and then they shut it down. They don't want you to know about it because they're involved in it. They know what's going on. I'm not saying they're involved in every single case that they run across of missing kids, but they're involved in the pedophilia that is being normalized in our country. They're involved in what's happening with these riots and looting and murders. They're involved with Antifa and Black Lives Matter. They're involved with these sex trafficking rings. They're involved with the child trafficking rings. Like I said, not everyone. I'm not saying every politician. I'm not saying every elite. But think about the whole deal with Jeffrey Epstein. He was about to go to prison for life or some ridiculous amount of time, and he killed himself. Somebody killed him because they didn't want him to roll over on them, because he didn't want him to start naming names. And that's exactly what was going to happen, because a man like Jeffrey Epstein ain't going to jail. He wouldn't make it in jail. He wouldn't make it in prison. And where he was going and what he was going for, he was going to roll over on somebody. They killed him. So what I'm saying is, just like these kids that they found, and the reason you haven't heard about it is because the people that control the media are the people that are involved with this. The people that, like California, passing a law or whatever it was that says it's okay to have sex with minors if they consent or something like that. California is a shithole. I wouldn't take a job making $1 million a year in California. Not at all. I just wouldn't. I'm not living in a shithole like that. Guys, when our country starts saying that these criminals are more important than these kids, there's a huge problem. These parents these parents of these missing kids, I know that they're happy they got their kids back. They're just, that's it. That's all they wanted was their kid back. You wouldn't know about my kid being found, because I would make it a point to get it all over the media, however I had to do it. Because for our media to not cover these kids and not cover the parents and not, try to find out what really happened to these kids, that's a problem. But by God, you let a criminal pull a gun or pull a knife on the police and he gets shot, I bet you the news covers that. And I bet you the city burns down. I bet you cities all across our country burn down, because that's exactly what they're doing now over these piece of shit criminals. But they're not doing anything over the piece of shit criminal that kidnapped all these kids. They're not saying anything about that. They're not rioting because of that, because they don't care about your kids. There's something majorly wrong with our country, guys, when y'all think, and I say y'all, don't mean the people who watch my channel, because we're not a bunch of freaking idiots. We understand right and wrong. We know the difference. We don't look for a reason to act like an animal. We don't look for a reason to get away with crimes. But when you Black Lives Matter, you Antifa bitches, when you see things like this happen, where's your riots? Where's your looting? I bet you out of all those 70-something kids, I promise you they ain't all white. They're not all white kids. How come you ain't looting and burning for that? You got a bunch of kidnapped children that have disappeared from their families. Good kids that don't do anything, don't bother nobody. They're just kids. They don't really know the difference in right and wrong necessarily. They do, but they're still kids. Ain't nobody saying a word about that. Ain't nobody rioting, looting about these kids. I'll tell you what, man, for our ass backwards way of thinking in this country anymore, that it's good and okay to be a criminal as long as, well, I guess it's just okay to be a criminal. I really can't think of anything. So if you agree with that, if you think that those people, those criminals that the police have shot over the last few months are more important than these kids, you should leave. You should leave our country, because you're just a problem. You should leave our country because you're just a piece of shit. You'll never be a good, upstanding citizen thinking that these criminals should be, blown up like they are. You're just the biggest piece of shit as they are, as far as I'm concerned, if you think that we should show more attention to George Floyd and Jacob Blake than these 70 kids that are found. That's a problem. Both of those men were criminals. They're pieces of shit.
But by God, let's burn down half the country for them.
You guys, I'm gonna leave it at this. I'm gonna leave it at this for you guys. If you are one of these people that said that, that's making a big deal over these criminals getting shot by the cops, and you don't think that this is a problem, that these children being kidnapped and just now being found and not nobody saying nothing about it, if you don't think that that's a problem, then you're a problem. You're part of the problem. If you think that these criminals need all of this rioting and looting and all this crap, then you're still part of the problem. Nobody's looting and rioting over these kids, and that makes me mad. That pisses me off. These kids got found. Thank God they got found. My question is, where was the looting and rioting before they got found? How come it was just, oh well, we found a couple kids. Great, good job, marshals. What if it was one of your kids? What would be being done about it? In our country nowadays, the criminal is the good guy. The innocent kids, the innocent people, the people that are trying to do right, the people that are trying to stand up against some of this craziness, the people that are willing to defend others when they can't. We're the bad guys, right? We're the criminals. The people that get up every day and go to work. The people that don't bother nobody. The people that mind their business. See, when people like me become the criminal, unlike a lot of you guys that watch my channel, we become the criminal, that's where there's a problem. See, I'll stand up for someone that I don't think could stand up for themselves if they were in a situation like that. I'll say something if I see some bad shit starting to happen. I will try to de-escalate the situation. you know, I like to see good things happen to kids. I'm glad these kids got found. I'm not upset that these kids got found. And I wish that they would find out who did it, and I wish they'd track it all the way back to whoever's running it. But see, the problem is, like I said, people like me and like most of you guys that are willing to stand up and do and say the right thing, because you just know the difference between right and wrong. And I'm not out here trying to say, well, it's right for me now, but it would normally be wrong. So if I just do it now because of whatever, it'll be okay. That's not how it works. People like me, I get up every day, I work. You know, I go home to my wife and my kids every night. I don't go out and do nothing stupid. I'm not out here breaking the law. I'm not out here committing crimes. I'm not out here doing anything that I shouldn't be doing. So, I mean, with that being said, I don't have any sympathy for anybody that is out here committing crimes and disobeying the law, and you get your ass shot. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave it right there. I know this video is kind of random, and I saw those missing kids this morning, man, on TV, and I just wanted to bring it up to you guys, man. I know that it's not getting the coverage, but I do want to say I appreciate you guys and all your support. You guys are amazing. So, yeah, there's a problem, guys. There's a huge problem in our country right now. There's lots of huge problems, but to me, more importantly than a couple criminals getting shot, but to me, 70 kids turning up in 2 different states and being able to be returned to their families and their parents is a lot more important than George Floyd's funerals or Jacob Blake. They're both criminals. They're both pieces of shit. These kids were not criminals. These kids are not pieces of shit, and they deserve every bit of attention that we can give them. You know what I mean? Those kids have been gone, and I can only imagine how my kids would feel in that situation. You know, my kids at home are safe. They know they're safe. And they know at my house, there's nothing and nobody that can touch them. I can only imagine if my kids were taken away, stolen, how my kids would feel, how scared they would be. And these kids get no attention. There's something wrong, guys. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. You see the point I'm trying to make. It's all being covered up by elites. The elites are all part of it. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Make sure you share. Make sure you like the video before YouTube shuts it off, because you know they will. They love our channel. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. I appreciate all you guys. Make sure you share it. Make sure you share it before YouTube shuts the share down on this video too, because I'm sure they will. So, but anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.